Hi, this is Councilmember Omar Ahmad of the San Carlos City Council. I wanted to present some slides to you about the San Carlos budget. These are slides that I put together for the July 13, 2009 meeting, and I want to present them to you and give you a little bit more context of how I came to some of the decisions and some of the things I see regarding our budget. One of the first things I have to do is acknowledge folks are angry. The state is, for all intents and purposes, dysfunctional. The city keeps doing cuts, friends are getting laid off, the economy is tough. Why can't the city and the state just work better? It doesn't make sense. And frankly, the way the media portrays it, it really doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, the media, the newspapers, the television, and all the stuff that you get a hold of tends to deal with sound bites. These are good questions, and I want to address them head on. So let's take a look at some of the sound bites and see if we can get under the hood of why we're in the position we're in. So one of the big sound bites, why can't the city live within their means? I certainly do. Every family in San Carlos and basically around the United States, if your income changes, your lifestyle changes. So why can't the city do the same thing? So let's take a look at the major streams of revenue for the city. Two that come to mind are property taxes and sales taxes. Property taxes make up a little over $9 million and is based on the strength of the real estate market. Sales taxes, based on the strength of retail sales in San Carlos, generates just over $4.8 million. These combine to form about $14 million. So why this is important, if we take a look at our safety spending, we'll see that we spend $6.3 million per year on fire and about $8.5 million per year on police services. This is $14.8 million. So the bottom line is that our property taxes and our sales taxes combined do not cover the tab for our safety spending. But San Carlos does much more than that. In fact, we've been treating it like a buffet of all you can eat. There are a lot of services that we offer, and unfortunately, the bill is due. So how do we do all these things, and how do we start to pay for it? Like other cities, San Carlos charges fees for service. These fees are limited to the cost of providing that service. There are licenses and permits, and there is a hotel tax that brings revenue into San Carlos. But these combined still don't match the tab that it costs to provide all the services San Carlos offers. So by now you're thinking, well, wait a minute. I pay my taxes. I'm entitled to these services. There's got to be a way that you guys can provide these services and still live within your means. So why don't you do the obvious? Cut the salaries. It's where most of your budget goes. There's got to be a way to do more with less. Makes sense. Let's just cut the salaries. But as you may guess, there's a little bit more to this story. First off, you need staff to actually deliver services. So one of the questions we need to ask is how many citizens does a particular staff member support in the city of San Carlos? So let's compare to other cities in the peninsula. A single staff member in Menlo Park supports 126 citizens. In Burlingame, that number is 132. And in Foster City, it climbs to 170. In Los Gatos, that number climbs to 187. Belmont has a whopping 198. Things get pretty busy for folks in Los Altos with 205. But where's San Carlos? Our staff supports 249 citizens. One thing to take away from this is you can imagine that San Carlos staff, well, they're not sitting at their desk with their feet up. These are folks who are working hard to ensure professional services for everyone in San Carlos. But those in the private sector are experiencing changes in their workspace. What can we do in San Carlos? The first thing to recognize, San Carlos staff are usually represented by unions. We have long-term contracts with the unions, and any changes in salary or benefit structures has to be done as a function of negotiation and under fair labor practices. So what have we done? Working with the unions, we've been able to do the following. We've reduced retirement benefits. We've actually taken on retiree medical. We've increased the employee contribution to health insurance. We've eliminated management bonuses, and we've discontinued equity adjustments, those automatic pay increases. All of these points were brought up in the San Mateo County Grand Jury report, and San Carlos was praised. We've done a lot of work here. But clearly, we can do more. It's going to take more negotiations with our unions, who are our partners in providing service to everybody in San Carlos. But we can do more, and we will. So the question comes up still, why can't the city live within its means? I do, you do, why can't the city? I understand how you feel, and frankly, I felt the same way. What I found once I started to get under the hood of the budget was pretty frightening. So let me explain what's going on. One of the things I was surprised about was the effect of regulations, laws, and mandates on a city's budget. In 2007 and 8, the California Assembly passed out 3,000 bills. The Senate, a little over 1,700. All of these, great regulations, but no way to pay for them. Guess who has to deal with it? Yep, you got it. Us in the city. So in an effort to figure out exactly what the impact was on our budget, the Finance Subcommittee of the City Council started to go through the budget line by line, determining our core services. And here's how we did it. Every single service in the city was scored in 5 categories. The first, is it mandated by law, and what are the functions of making those mandates? How critical is the service for the citizens of San Carlos? Who is the audience? Is it a broad audience, general, or somewhat smaller? How is it paid for? A dedicated revenue source or general funds? And finally, how is it delivered? Is the city the only group that delivers a service, or are there others? With that analysis in hand, we started to take a look at each one of our departments and determine exactly how much of what they do is mandated by law. In the Administrative Services Department, 23 services are delivered. 18 of these are mandated by law. We have to do them. We have to do them to the specifications of the mandate, and we have to report on them. We have no choice. These are mandated. The Public Works Department provides 28 services to the city. 22 of these are mandated by law. The Park and Recreation Department provides 22 services. Only 1 is mandated by law, but many will argue these services are what make San Carlos the city of good living. The Police Department provides 11 services, 8 of which are mandated. Some of the non-mandated services, such as youth gang intervention services, are not mandated by law, but still critical. Our Fire Department provides 17 services, of which every one of them mandated by law. Community Development, 10 of the 18 services mandated. The Planning Department, 7 of the 9 services mandated by law. The Building Department, 12 of 22. The very small city manager staff provides 31 services, 8 mandated. City Council, 11 services, 7 mandated by law. So how do we make this work? What can we do? Well, we'll continue to do intelligent streamlining of our systems. We do need to consider how to increase our revenues, and unfortunately, we do need to talk about cuts. Cuts are no fun. They're not popular, and frankly, we just don't like them. But there will be some tough decisions ahead, and they are going to have to be made. So by now, you're probably pulling your hair out, and I can't blame you. The City Council, in an effort to increase revenue, has put a question on the November ballot. The City Council doesn't have the power to simply raise a tax. It can only ask the citizens if this is what they want to do. So in November, you will have the choice. You will have the voice and determine how San Carlos will face its future. I'm Councilmember Omar Ahmad. Thanks for listening, and I hope to see you at a City Council meeting soon.